He is the man who meets and greets the nervous singletons on one of my favourite shows, who are not only on a first date, but they're also doing it on national television. And he makes sure that they're nice and comfortable, gives them a drink and listens to their stories before they meet up. But tonight, Merlin Griffiths is here to tell us his story. He was diagnosed with bowel cancer in 2021. After life-saving treatment on the National Health Service, he has been clear of the disease for more than a year now. And Merlin is with me in the studio. Merlin, it's so great to see you.
So, Jane, thank you.
You talked to us on a day when the biggest strikes in NHS history have come to an end. And you are a massive fan of the NHS because they literally saved your life. Talk to me about your experience with the NHS, because you were under their care for a long time after your diagnosis.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the total care plan initially will run up to 5 years, and then even then they're checking in on you up to 10 years. Beyond 10 years, well, it's anyone's guess what happens after that. I think that's you're about as cured as you're ever going to be from a cancer point of view at that point. But yeah, no, I just want to say, I mean, I understand some of the frustrations that people have around the NHS, but at the same time, when it works, oh boy, does it work. And especially when it comes to cancer. Once you've been diagnosed, the machinery kicks in because it's imperative that you're treated quickly. It's imperative that certain steps are taken because, as you say, this is life-saving. And in my case, I was absolutely blown away by the speed of referrals, by the speed of appointments, by the speed of medication, and eventually by the speed of operation. Yeah, it all just goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And next thing you know, you're like that.
Yeah, you are. And you had a scan at the start of this summer. It was your 1-year scan. And, you know, you, along with the cancer community on social media, were talking about it because you've shared your stories on social media to raise awareness of bowel cancer. And you talked about scanxiety. And you got the all clear on that 1-year scan, which is great news. But talk to me about why you wanted to be so public about it and share your story on social media.
Yeah, it was a difficult decision, and one my girlfriend and I didn't take lightly at the time, because your natural instinct with something like this is to keep it quite private. But then you suddenly realise, well, I'm lucky enough to have a platform which a few people might listen to, and so maybe we can actually turn some good out of this. And since I've actually had friends that have gone and got themselves checked and had various symptoms that they wouldn't otherwise have had checked. In fact, 2 of them have had polyps removed and things like this, which is one of the possibly precancerous stages. Not all polyps turn into cancers, and it's encouraging to hear that it works.
But it's interesting, whenever we talk about a type of cancer here on Sky News, we get lots of people getting in touch saying, do you know what, I'm going to go for a checkup, or I'm going to get this checked out. Even if it's only 1 or 2 people, it's spreading the word. But with bowel cancer in particular, there's a sort of shyness about talking about it because of the area of the body it involves, and people have to say the word poo. And a lot of people, 4 in 10 actually, according to Bowel Cancer UK, couldn't even name you 1 symptom of bowel cancer.
Yeah, and it's important to familiarise yourself with a few of the more common ones. I think unexplained weight loss is one of the key ones you look out for. The really, really big one, any blood in your stools and changes to your bowel habits. And these are changes, they might only happen occasionally. And you might go, oh, maybe it was something I ate, maybe it was something I did. But actually, if they keep happening repeatedly, unexplained lumps, bumps, pains, aches, again, on a regular basis, it is worth getting them checked out. Cancers grow very, very slowly, and a lot of the symptoms can seem relatively benign, so it is very easy just to put them down to something else. But honestly, if they're happening consistently, you need to recognise that and, as you say, not be shy about talking to your doctors.
Because you were 45 when you were diagnosed?
45, 46, yeah.
45, 46.
I don't know, I stopped counting after.
Me too, I'm around the same age. But in terms of testing for bowel cancer, it used to be over 60 and people would get a sample kit through the post. Now it's down to 55. I think the government are trying to get it down to 50. And it's really important that people use those free sample kits because we talk about the symptoms of bowel cancer, but often at the early stages, there are none.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, there's very, very little. That's right. Yeah, and so they're looking for various markers that will be in your stools. I can promise you, it literally is as easy. You walk in, you don't even have to see anyone at reception, right?
Just in case you're a bit embarrassed about it.
Yeah, you walk in, they're usually kept by the receptionist desks, little test tube, right? You take it home, dip it in the bathroom, screw it up, put it back in its little baggie, drop it into a post box. back at the surgery, and that's it.
Yeah.
You don't even have to see anybody to get it done, and your results are then confidential.
You don't even have to say the P word if you're a bit shy about it.
That's right.
What now, Merlin? Because, you know, you'll have experienced the reaction on social media. You're a popular guy. People love the First Dates programme, and the beauty of what you do is you put people at their ease and you offer them reassurance. And you've got a lot of back through social media with regard to what you were going through. What does life look like now? Because, as you said, you're clear a year, but you've got 5 years, 10 years. What does life look like for you now?
Mostly you try not to think about it and you want to get things back to normal. Personally speaking, I think the hardest thing is actually getting back to full fitness. It takes a long time. While one might be looking okay, so many operations on your abdomen, for instance. I can barely do sit-ups, for instance, these days. It's shocking. And so it's getting back what you had and knowing also, accepting that you'll never quite work the same way.
Life is different.
It's different.
But, you know, it can be a good kind of different.
Yeah.
And you're back on our screens. You're opening a pub near Christmas Dog and Garden in Leicestershire. You're going to be back actually mixing us a drink because we're going to toast the launch of our show and your good health news and your treatment of the NHS. So come back and join us in a minute, Merlin, for that. Merlin's going to mix us up a little drink, non-alcoholic. Well, Merlin's back. We are going to toast your continued recovery from cancer and our first week of the UK tonight with a non-alcoholic drink, of course. What have you got for us, Merlin?
Oh, yes. We've got a wonderful little thing, a dance hall driver.
Dance hall driver?
Yes.
That's very much me. Now I've moved out to the country and can't get any taxis anywhere. It's quite interesting. We're in Sober October.
Yeah.
And I just want to know what it's like. A lot of people have been saying they're going on dates in October. Not me, I'm married. But this was a discussion in the newsroom before. How do you approach Sober October on a first date? On
a first date? I think you should always approach a first date sober or largely sober. I mean, and at all times. This is about moderation, and that's the whole point of doing you a delicious non-alcoholic cocktail. It's a cocktail, not a mocktail, by the way.
I know. I called it a mocktail earlier. I'm not allowed to call it that.
Yeah. Well, mock means fake, and I resent that term. When you've got so many really good. Yeah, there's great non-alcoholic options these days.
And in terms of, you know, having cancer, how did it change your attitude to alcohol? Because we talk about mindful drinking now, don't we? And it's not always related to a health condition. It's just, you know, how people live nowadays, a lifestyle choice.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, and this is the whole point. If somebody ever asks you...
You can talk and make my drink, Merlin.
Yeah.
Come on.
Give that a little
Oh, here we go. OK. Oh, if it goes over my seat, Merlin, I'm in trouble. Here we go.
But, yeah... I think if anybody asks you why you're not drinking of an evening, they can mind their own business.
Yeah.
We really are at that stage. You should be able to turn it on and turn it off as you wish. I think it's better for us.
Yeah.
And you're starting to see much more of this sort of thing as well. Here we go. Cheers to your first week, by the way.
Oh, thank you, and cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
And your recovery.
Saffron, vanilla, orange, lime, little agave in there. Beautiful, aromatic, and tahini around the edge.
Wonderful. That's it. Thank you, Merlin, and thank you for joining us on our first week of the UK Tonight.